Stories stir the soul.
Stories reveal.
And stories heal.
In this podcast, we will give you an inside look at someone who's had a life-changing breakthrough.
Real people, real stories with real breakthroughs. As a health and wellness expert and coach, and Todd as a men's mentor,
we've seen firsthand what God can do when it comes to a breakthrough. So lean in, listen well. This could be your biggest breakthrough.
hello and welcome to this episode of Your Biggest Breakthrough. I'm Wendy Pett.
Hi, Wendy. I'm Todd Isberner.
Hi, Toddy. Todd the Bod. Todd the Bod. Remember when I used to call you Todd the Bod?
No, you never called me that.
Yes, I did.
You accidentally slipped one time. You said that.
Proof.
All right. We digress.
We digress already.
This is your biggest breakthrough.
Yes,
episode number
78.
Is
78.
It really?
It
you
is.
know that by heart?
I do.
Wow.
I do.
Okay.
And I want y'all to know that this podcast is part of the Spark Media Network, and it can now be found on the Edify app. And super excited that a radio station out of Houston, Texas, KHCB, is now streaming this podcast and my Visibly Fit podcast. So that's super exciting.
Right, and publishing some of the blogs and articles that we're writing, which is really a blessing.
It is.
Because
it's a gift.
Every once in a while you think you really have something to say, and you wouldn't mind others, hearing about it, starting with yourself. That's kind of what we're going to do today.
Because you wrote an article. It's actually part of your book, but you added it and created an article, and you're like, oh, this is good stuff. We should talk about this.
Here's the hard part about writing good stuff that you think, is easy to teach to others. And it is easy to teach to others. The hard part is living it out. And so as we go through today's program, we're going to talk about 8 steps for a husband and a wife to guarantee a happy marriage.
That's a great topic. Yes. So
we're gonna get practical, and this is based on our experience. And so we just want to pass along to you what we believe are, 8 pretty important actions that you can take, daily disciplines, if you will.
Yeah.
That's right, guarantee
or your money
marriage.
back, your money back. And you know what? Honestly, you may know some of these, but some of these may be incredible reminders. So make sure you lean in and listen well, because this is a great subject and article that you wrote. I'm proud of you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I'm very proud of you, Todd the Bod.
I just don't, because if this thing stays out in front of me, I'll have no choice but to have to do it, or I'm going to feel really like a hypocrite. If you really to boil all of this down, for everything in life that you want to do right and you want to experience success in, I'm going to boil it down to, you count the words. Just be like Jesus.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I mean, I'm serious, and I don't mean to, honestly. I don't want to sound really lame on that, but the reality is, the more we become like Christ through the power of His Spirit in us, the easier it actually becomes to do these kinds of things that we're going to talk about.
Yeah, and then you really are guaranteed a happy marriage.
Yeah. So the real challenge in all of this, for those of you who are married, or those of you who are going to get married someday, or those of you who have been married and are now divorced and are sort of in that in-between place, all of this is going to apply. And I'm convinced that the more we live this out, the more we will honor God, bless our spouse, and actually be really happy in the process of doing it. So, can I start?
Yes, please, go.
Number one.
1.
All right, man, listen up, those husbands that are tuned in here today. You need to acknowledge, first and foremost, that your chief role as a husband is to protect and to provide.
Yes.
In other words, you're a leader. That doesn't mean you're going to be a domineering, bully in your house and, try to get things your way. What that really means is you're going to focus on what is the way that I can best serve my wife in helping her become spiritually mature.
Yeah. I remember.
Oh, by the way, you got to be spiritually mature yourself first.
Well, there you go. Right. You have to be there first. Yeah. So it starts with you and getting to know God's word through and through, so that you can lead your wife and carry that role out. But I remember when you proposed to me at Eagle's Nest, and this is an area that's under a tree. It's in the woods. It's a great, beautiful place.
Call it Eagle's Nest because it's got a great view. And,
And so it was so sweet, because you not only had obviously a beautiful ring, but obviously the words that you said, but you also gave me a rock.
Yeah.
And you wrote on it with a Sharpie, and on one side it said provide, and on the other side it said protect.
Yeah.
And you at first you gave me that rock, and I'm like, okay, what is this?
Right.
And the more you shared your sentiments and the details of what provide and protect meant, it it made me weep. I just cried. It's beautiful.
Yeah, you're going to get me choked up.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, Wendy will go for that walk, that rock. If I'm not
and a walk too. I walk every day.
She'll grab that rock. And say, hey, remember this?
Bang him over the head with it.
Yeah, I mean that is the reality. So men and women, husbands and wives. Honestly, if we will start with the most important thing in our lives, and that is to lay down the foundation by spending time with God, and you don't always have to do it together. I mean, there's tremendous value in spending time alone with God, and we both do that. Mm-hmm. But we also really value starting our day together. When we're together, when we're around, we're not traveling, we will have devotions together. We'll read our Bibles together, pray together, and that is the starting point, right? So I just want to encourage husbands, you're the protector and the provider, therefore be the spiritual leader.
That's so good.
What's number 2?
Number 2, learn her love language. Todd, have you learned my love language?
You know, is it based on that book, isn't it? I don't even have any clue anymore what those 5 love languages are.
Well, I think it's like words of affirmation, service,
all that
gifts.
Stuff. I know you can categorize it, and I think that's good. I mean, I can't remember the author of the book, but it's about the...
Matthew Kelly, maybe?
Really?
I don't know. I think so.
About the 5 love languages? No, I don't think it's Matthew Kelly.
Oh, anyway.
You don't know the book?
I remember the book.
Okay.
I just can't remember the author.
What's my love language?
Definitely acts of service.
That's right.
If I'm cleaning and cooking, he's a happy man.
The reality
vacuuming.
We all do have a love language, and when you figure out what your spouse's love language is,
I think it's a dominant. We have a dominant love language.
Yeah.
I think we appreciate all of them. Like I love gifts.
Yes, you do. Yes,
but that's not my dominant love language.
No.
Yeah.
And
what
is
I'm
going to share though
kind
of a little. I'm going to pull back a little bit because we can get very specific on this, and I hope that the husbands and wives will really figure it out. Like, okay, that's right. My wife's love language is, and then you fill in the blank, and then you make efforts towards that.
Mm-hmm. And but before you go, what is mine?
It's words of affirmation.
Oh, you and all the other things. You're absolutely correct, but man, I wasn't quite sure.
Wendy, you're awesome. You really are. So I had a friend before I got married who gave me some really rock solid advice that sort of puts an umbrella over all of this learn her love language thing. And it simply was this. He said, Todd, don't love your wife the way you think you ought to love your wife. Love your wife the way God wants to love her through you. And I went, oh, man. And every once in a while, I'll just get hit with that. Because God will just be conveying to me, no, I want to show Wendy my love in this particular thing. And I'll just say, Lord, have at it, and thanks for showing me. But you know what the payoff is when we do that?
What?
We're really happy.
Yes.
It feels good to serve the other spouse.
It really does. And when you show up in a way as a leader and a provider and a protector and just loving me through even my moments, because we all have, quote unquote moments where we're not in our best character, and vice versa, I must say.
I'm not saying a word.
But when we love each other through it and actually have grace and almost bring in humor so that it's hard to stay in that place, it's hard to not respond with love and kindness back to the other person. And then it just makes the relationship go more smoothly. And do we have the perfect marriage? Yes. No, we don't. But it's pretty darn close in my opinion because of the way in which we show up. And no, we're not perfect individuals, and it's not a perfect marriage. But you know what I'm saying. It's because we keep putting biblical principles forward and attempt to sharpen our character as far as being in Christ.
And I know that can sound a little sappy, but what Wendy is saying is absolutely true. It's about putting the Lord first.
Yeah.
Because when we do that, we cannot help but want to then comply with what the Lord has said we ought to do, should do, and must do.
Yeah, we get convicted, and then
That's good.
hopefully
That's good. Yeah.
do a little about face.
I love and hate conviction. I really do. It's like it stops me dead in my tracks. Say, oh, no, I don't want to be wrong on this one. All right, number 3, in showing ways in which you can love your spouse, embrace your differences. Yeah, embrace your differences. And a lot of times people get married because they see differences in the other person that for them become assets, and they think, oh, she's really good at that, or he's really strong in that area, and I'm not. So therefore,
right.
Yeah. So then we become like overly dependent, expecting that the other person is
Will
going
fill
to
the gap.
Yeah, exactly right.
And then
That's gonna lead
sometimes
to trouble.
those differences that drew you together in the beginning aren't those. I don't know. I don't want to generalize. I'm trying to say sometimes they are they pull you apart later.
Oh yeah,
in the
no, they
marriage.
can be
You want to have more
horrible intrusions, and
similarities.
they can just shove a wedge in between if we don't work through those differences and learn to embrace them. So I love what John Eldridge said in one of his books. He said, "She, meaning you, Wendy, is not a puzzle to solve, but a mystery to explore."
Yes.
Yeah, I do like that, because so many times us guys in particular, we like to solve problems.
Right.
And if your wife is having a problem, what's the first thing you want to do?
You want to solve
I want
it.
to solve that problem for her. Instead of just learning to listen, and you're not going to get her figured out anyhow, or whatever problem it is, you might as well just
What's your malfunction?
just enjoy the mystery and explore, like, what makes her tick, and why would she think that way?
Every day is a new day. You just never know. That's the excitement of it all.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to go back to Genesis for a moment, because God said that he was going to make a suitable helper for Adam. So in the original language, a helper is one who fills up the gaps. I really like that, because internally, Wendy and I each have gaps. And I find there are ways in which, God is using Wendy to fill up certain things that help me grow deeper in Christ. So
yeah, and filling in those acts of service. Maybe Adam really appreciated Eve, giving acts of service. Maybe she was, gathering the berries and doing all the.
Yes, absolutely.
That was his love language.
Cooking up the mushrooms. All right. All right, number 4.
Let her be right.
Wait a minute. Did I write that? Really?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, let her be right. Even when you're pretty certain she's wrong. Now, this works both ways. Women, wives, you can do the same thing. Just, I know he wants to be right all the time, and a lot of times he isn't right. But once in a while, just let him be right and see what happens.
Well, can I just put a little pin in that real quick?
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Because sometimes I am, because it's kind of fun. So sometimes Todd will be stewing about something.
Stewing?
Yeah, there's just something that
contemplating,
mulling, whatever word you want to use, and his response is hilarious. It's almost like a childlike response.
Come on,
yeah, and I just have to sit there and look at him and just smile and lovingly love him through it, and I don't even say a word, because I know he finally realizes that I'm overreacting in this situation.
Yeah, on occasion, I think you're right. I think on every once in a while, on a rare occasion, something like that might happen. You're absolutely right. I had a great example of a husband who started letting his wife be right. Years ago, his name was Stuart, and he was married for over 20 years, and he was just so frustrated with the constant bickersome kind of marriage they had. They were always arguing, always disagreeing, could never see things the right way. And he knew he was right, and he couldn't get her to see it that way, and vice versa. So he decided one day when he was taking this up with God, he just had it. God said, let her be right. Well,
but she's not.
Just let her be right. So Stuart literally made a commitment that day. I'm going to let her be right. Not once in a while, like all the time. Even when I know she's dead wrong, I'm going to let her be right. Well, he started that. It was excruciating at first. I mean, he was like biting his tongue till it bled. But he started to really just, very compliant, gentle, honoring way. He let her be right. He didn't engage and try to defend and do all that other stuff that we do when we want to be right. And it wasn't long when they would start to approach a disagreement that she noticed he would start to back away, not engage. And this went on for a number of months until finally she
finally
said,
caught on.
well, I think she really liked it because
Oh.
he was proving that he was able to do that, just swallow his pride and do it. And the result was, oh my goodness, their marriage just absolutely blossomed. And what's really, really ironic about all this, it wasn't too long, and when they would get into that place of not sure, is this a disagreement? He'd say, well, honey, I don't know. What do you think? And she would say, no, dear, you tell me, what do you think? Oh, okay, yeah, let's do it that way. 9 times out of 10, she would be very agreeable to what he wanted to do. And it wasn't a manipulative
Reverse
thing.
psychology.
He literally, no, it really, honestly, he was
yeah.
just literally willing to give it up, and just for the sake of having a happy marriage instead of always in conflict.
No,
Is that speaking to anybody?
I think that's super cool, but I also think too, Todd, that women want men to be men, and so we're not saying men cower down and don't be a man.
Yeah, thank you.
Because
thank you for clarifying that.
yeah, we want men to rise up and take that role in the marriage. So anyway,
I mean,
I'm
the
glad
reality
she
is,
caught on.
the reality is each of us have to swallow our pride many, many times when we just really want to and like to be right about things.
Yeah,
that's okay. You don't have to be right. And you know what?
Because you said I'm right.
All the time, dear. All the time.
All the time. Yeah.
How about number 5? Don't let the sun go down on your anger.
Yeah. Now, that's one that you really stand true on. And it used to drive me nuts, I have to admit, because we may have been having a little, disagreement or something that I really wanted to hash out and get it handled before I went to bed, before we went to bed, because I wanted to be able to sleep if I could be so selfish about it. But I wanted it to be solved. And Todd's like, nope, we're not talking about tonight. I'm like, I'm going to have a really horrible, rotten night's sleep. But it was wise, because you're not thinking clear late at night. You're a little more, tired and just a little more edgy. And
and we have the power to actually make a decision to postpone it, to just schedule it, if you will. Everybody's used to doing that, right? So why not just schedule a continuation of the discussion or whatever the issue was to the next morning?
So I've learned to be able to get rest, even in the midst of those moments where you're like, nope, sun's gone down. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
That is something I taught myself years ago. Like when the sun goes down, it starts to get dark out. We're emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically drained.
Biochemically, too. Your body shifts and changes.
It's not the time to start.
Like shutting down.
You don't want to start opening mail then, paying bills, getting into all sorts of emotional issues and discussions. No.
No.
So my dad was a champion at that. He literally made that commitment. He didn't realize that he was doing it. He didn't know the Bible that well at that point in time. Ephesians 4:26, where the Apostle Paul says, don't let the sun go down on your anger. And my dad would always take my mom's hand, and he would absolutely guarantee that they would not fall asleep if they were angry. And so they would just, talk it out or sometimes postpone it. But what a great example that was for us.
Yeah. No, that's super cool. I love that.
Number 6.
Now it says, do what comes unnatural for you. So
again, this is aimed primarily at husbands, but I think some wives will relate to this as well.
Sure. Yeah. So when certain requests come up from us to you, sometimes they are exact opposite of what you want.
Oh, sometimes.
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
So right about that.
We do think differently, and that's okay. I mean, I think kind of like all over the place, and you're very linear. And you have to sometimes,
my dear, focused.
Focused. Okay, if that's what you
intentional.
Want to say. Intentional.
Goal-oriented.
Well, I am too, but my path is a little bit different.
Yeah. Your path goes through malls, and you like to shop. No, it's things like this, guys. Right? I think you guys can relate to this. It is these differences that there are things your wife does. They don't come natural for you. I mean, honestly, I cannot stand shopping. I can't stand it. But Wendy actually enjoys it. And this is not as a criticism or a fault. This is just something Wendy likes to do.
And I don't do that very often.
You really don't. But
no.
Like if we're together and we happen to be in a mall, it's like, okay, I guess I'll go in there with you. You just got to kind of swallow it and just say, well, but if it makes her happy, why not do it for that reason then? Or watching chick flicks.
No,
oh my goodness!
No, you rarely let that happen.
That's true. Thank you. That's one I almost cannot force myself to do.
So I do that on my own. But here's one of the things I wanted to say that's a little more practical too, is that women tend to process things differently than men. So I I like to talk it out. I like to talk, and talk.
You share a lot of detail.
A lot of details, and you're like, just get to the point, or like, you know, what are you trying to say? Or are you even talking to me? Because sometimes I'm just processing out loud, and I'm not even talking to Todd, and he's almost getting kind of irritated, like, are you talking to me? Because it's not real clear what you're saying. And I'm like, nope, just talking.
Oh, that is
so
true.
That's kind of a funny thing. But
so guys,
it's unnatural.
Guys and women, if we do the things for the other person because we love them, even though they might be a little unnatural or uncomfortable for us, it is going to guarantee a happy marriage, right? Is that what you're after?
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I must say, too, that happiness is a choice. Right? It really is.
Title of another great book years ago. Awesome book.
Is it? I didn't even know that. Oh, well, there you go.
So happiness is a choice.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right. Number 7.
Yeah. Romance her like you did before you caught her.
Wait. Read that one again,
I know,
please.
seriously. Well, because see, I mean, we all know this, right? Men are hunters. Well, I guess there are some women who are pretty good hunters too.
Yeah,
we ran
watched
into a
that.
gal over the weekend who's just like she'll knock you off balance in terms of how she knows how to fish.
Oh, you talking about on the show we watched?
No, the person that we met this weekend who invented the fishing weed thing.
Yeah.
All right, never mind. Wow, now I just went and did a
see,
squirrel
it's
rabbit
rubbing
trail
off
type
on
thing.
you. Yeah, but romance her like you did before you caught her. I love that, and I believe you do a great job at that.
Really?
Believe it or not, I do.
I think I could do better. And
Well, I
think
do
a lot of
too.
guys do.
You could definitely get better, but you haven't lost that love and feeling kind of thing. You haven't lost that touch as far as, like my birthday's coming up. It's this week, and you've got something special planned. You won't tell me what it is.
No, I think I'm going to get you a birthday cake.
Oh, okay, great. So, you've got like some surprises and some things up your sleeve, which is fun. And I think that's just so important. And it doesn't have to be an everyday thing, but even little surprises like, I don't know.
What are you going to
like
give
we're
me?
going to go out
something
to
I've never
dinner or just out of the blue. Like, hey, I don't want you to have to cook tonight.
Yeah.
And I like that's a special gift.
Yeah.
Even saying, hey, let's just go out to dinner.
Well, you know that cliche, and I don't like it, but I guess there's truth to it, and that is familiarity can breed contempt. So sometimes we get so used to our spouse in our marriage. It's like we know everything about them. We know their good stuff, the not so good stuff, and the result is we become just so familiar that we make a decision to take things for granted.
There you go.
And when you first were pursuing each other, I mean, it was all about showing romance and love and kindness and all these things. So why do we stop doing that when the honeymoon is over? Why does that stop? And I think it's a lot of times just because of this familiarity.
Yeah,
thing.
no, you're absolutely right.
You get lazy.
Yeah, you're right. And but I do also think that you can continually discover things about one another, but you have to be intentional and you have to make the space for that because life is busy. And if we don't have that intentional time to discover one another in a new atmosphere and new adventure or a new place where we're going to dine or whatever, then we're kind of missing the boat on understanding one another as human beings because there's always so much more to discover. We are made in the image of God, and God, he cannot be fully explored. So think about that for just a minute. We can't be fully explored.
Yeah.
We can continue to try and seek that out in one another.
Yeah, that's good. That's
is that good?
Yeah,
you
that
like
really
that,
is.
huh?
I'm pondering that. I think I need to go back and rewrite that section of the blog.
Okay, good. All right, number 8.
So again, we're talking about the 8 different disciplines or actions or intentions that you can do to guarantee
a happy marriage.
A happy marriage.
Yes.
So number 8 is don't go it alone. Don't try this all by your lonesome. If you're really struggling, trying to bring life back into your marriage, or you're trying to it's a good marriage, but you really want to get it to another level, then don't go it alone. Get some help. I have been in men's groups that absolutely 100% guaranteed that I was going to grow bigger, deeper, and better because I've got men keeping me accountable. Same thing for women.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you are surrounding yourself with people that are always saying, oh, I just want you to be happy, whatever you want. No, those are not the right accountability people. No, you need people that are speaking godly truth into your life. And it may be tough to swallow sometimes, but those are the real friends and those are the real accountability partners that you deserve to have in your life to help make a marriage even stronger and individuals even stronger within that marriage.
Yeah.
So.
And if you don't have, well, I'm not part of a men's group or I don't know how to get in one or anything, just make a little effort. Just check it out. I promise, whether it's online or in person, there are tons of groups that will help you become a better man and a better husband. And the same thing for women.
And just resources.
Books and everything. But I think there's something about having other men keep you accountable. And if you don't have that right now, think through your network of friendships or acquaintances. Think of a guy that has got what you believe to be a pretty good marriage, and start getting together with him.
Yeah.
And start learning from him and let him be your model.
Yeah.
Like I've had several of those in my life, and I go, man, I mean, he really shows love in the way that I've got to learn how to love.
Yeah, and same with women, whether that's about your marriage or how to be a better mom or just how to be a better godly woman. All of that is so important because I have incredible friends that I bounce things off of and we just do life with. And I can't imagine these women, these sisters, not in my life.
Yeah. So much value in that. All right, the 8 steps for a husband and a wife to guarantee a happy marriage. 1, acknowledge that your chief role as a husband is to protect and provide. 2,
learn her love language.
3, embrace your differences.
Number 4, don't forget this one, everybody. Let her be right.
It's a little painful at first, but hey, I'm telling you, a big payoff. Number 5, don't let the sun go down on your anger.
And number 6, do what comes unnatural for you.
Still working on that one. And don't make me listen to every single detail, please.
and then this happened.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 7, romance her like you did before you caught her.
Yeah, that's a real biggie. It is. And number 8, don't go at it alone. So hopefully that helped to recap what we were sharing today. But this is an important episode.
Yeah. We're probably going to listen to it over and over again.
And we know this is called Your Biggest Breakthrough, but hopefully you've got some breakthrough components as you've been listening to these 8 steps.
Seriously, hopefully you will get very intentional with one or all of these 8 steps. So you know what? I need to step it up in this area, like number 3 or whatever it is. Would you make that commitment? Would you be very intentional about it? Because here's what's going to happen as a result. Number 1. First and foremost, if you're a Christian, you're a follower of Jesus, you know that you really, truly want to be considered authentic in your relationship with him. You do this for another person, and guaranteed you will become more like Christ. You will honor him in the process, and you will honor your spouse in the process as well.
And I do believe, too, that as you are honing into having a happier, healthier marriage, it really does create a ripple effect with others. And you can become a model for someone else's life. And just how we can help raise the bar in our communities when we show up and are more engaged with one another and really take these steps seriously. So,
can I say one more thing to the husbands?
I guess.
I know you guys know this, and you're tired of hearing it because every time there's a message on marriage and husbands and whatnot, you always hear the same verse in Ephesians. Husbands, hello, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. And if you really, truly make it your intention to give yourself for your spouse, I promise you will be guaranteed a very happy marriage, a very fulfilled life, and a life that shows love and honor to the Lord.
And there's more to that verse for the ladies. So keep reading.
Yeah, keep going. That's good. Thank you, lady.
Yeah, all right. Well, God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. Please share this episode with others, and we hope this was a blessing for you today. So take care, and we'll catch you next time. Head on over to yourbiggestbreakthrough.com where you'll find some free resources and information and a place where you can comment, and we would love to dialogue with you there. So thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.